Radio 1 FM 90.
Brought to you by Housing Finance Bank, a financial institution regulated by Bank of Uganda. Housing Finance Bank, we make it easy.
Your views, our interviews on Spectrum, Radio 1 FM 90.
A very good evening. Thank you very much for joining us this Tuesday, the 11th of June 2024. And this is Spectrum coming to you live on Radio 1 FM 90, live from the Central Building here in the heart of our city, Kampala, but also live on its website, which is www.radio1fm90.com. Radio 1 is also coming to you live via the different radio listening apps, TuneIn, Afro Mobile, Your TV channel, Radio Garden, and Stream Africa. We're also on DSTV, where our audio channel is 897. Today we'll be looking at the censure motion against the Commissioners of Parliament. How far is that process? And what is the response of the plotters on the emerging issues? Now, as the collection of signatures for censure motion of Commissioners of Parliament continues, questions have emerged about the motive of the plotters. Now, some MPs have accused them of playing to the gallery and seeking cheap political capital on grounds that they were part of the process that passed the budget containing the 1.7 billion shillings the commissioners are accused of sharing. Now, the matter has also become partisan, with the NRM telling its members not to sign the motion. NUP has also been accused of using this process to allegedly witch hunt the Honorable Mathias Mpuuga Nsamba. Some other people have even suggested that the real target of this motion could be the Speaker of Parliament, who is already sanctioned by the UK, US, and the United Arab Emirates. Now, Parliament continues to come under the spotlight, and as we speak now, 3 MPs are under police investigation in what has been codenamed by the media as the budget racket probe. Now, they include Sisena Muju of Lukwago District, Yusuf Mtembuli of Bunyole East, and Ibusiki County MP Paul Akamba. And now, this is in line with what the President hinted about during the State of the Nation address last week. As we got information that they were actually arrested yesterday. Today, there were searches conducted in their homes, but the details of this investigation are yet to be provided by the police. So we'll be asking a question: how far with the censure motion? What is the response of the plotters on the issues that have emerged? How do we holistically address the emerging challenge of corruption at Parliament? My guest this evening is the Honorable Patrick Oshabe Nsamba, the Kassanda North County MP. He's from the National Unity Platform Party. He's among those collecting signatures for the censure of the 4 commissioners of Parliament. Good evening, Honorable Nsamba. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Kenneth. Good evening, viewers. Good evening, listeners.
Thank you very much for making time to be with us.
Since I've been here on Radio 1, I'm glad to be back.
It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
Now, and at the beginning of this process, we had your colleague, the Honorable Theodore Sechkubo, on this platform, where he explained the rationale behind the collection of the signatures and how the process will actually be handled. Today, it will be very interesting for the listeners to understand how far you've gone with the process, because at that time, Honorable Theodore Sechkubo told us actually you needed 177 signatures to be able to actually move this motion to the House. Where are we, Honorable Nsamba?
Thank you very much, Kenneth, and thank you very much, listeners on Radio 1. I know people have been listening in because this is a matter that has been in the public domain since February, and I'm very sure that people have known how it began, where we are. But
that's the issue of the commissioners.
I should say the issue of corruption and mismanagement at Parliament. It first came through when there was a Parliament exhibition by some individuals who came on social media to expose the vote at Parliament. And the Honorable Sechkubo Theodore, you remember very well how he came to say, hey, Madam Speaker, can we just move when the things are out there in the public? Can't we have a session to debate and talk about these matters as they are in the social media? Unfortunately, the Speaker never accorded him the the audience at that time. He continued to insist on the same along the different sessions of meetings of the parliament, and the speaker promised that when she's done with the budget process, probably she will create time for this. But unfortunately, when the speaker was concluding the session in terms of our parliamentary sitting, she mentioned nothing about it when we shall sit down to debate about the things that came through the parliament exhibition, things that came through about our commissioners. Unfortunately, even when Honorable Sechikubo tried to demand that, none of the commissioners came up to provide a personal statement, because within our rules of procedure, you expect that if an allegation is done about any member of parliament, they have a right to come and present a personal statement, an explanation, and a clarification, so that the public can then leave the allegations and then take you and either judge you to say you're right or wrong. Unfortunately, our 4 commissioners, backbench commissioners, they kept mute about it. Even the senior commissioners, this Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance, they kept on grumbling, but outside the Parliament. And the Honorable Sechikubo, when this session came to an end, when the Parliament was adjourned, Sunday, he invited us in a small meeting to say, how do we proceed on this? Are we going to leave it like this? And then we supported his motion, where he said, I think we should come up with a motion that compels the Speaker to invite a session specifically to debate about these issues. And we concluded to say that let us come up with a motion that is intended to censure these ones that are keeping quiet, these ones that should be able to account to us and the public. And specifically we said, let us focus on the service award at that moment. And we focused on the commissioners, we focused on the service award, and we said, let us see what the members of parliament will begin. Honestly, when we began, we never knew that we would raise the even 20 signatures in the beginning, because surprisingly, there is a lot of fear today. It is very risky to talk about the corrupt in this country. So you would expect every member of parliament to take off. You remember when the Musenero Censorship motion came, members of parliament chickened out here and there. So we knew that history, that in this our country we have that problem. People don't want to say anything about the corrupt. Actually, the corrupt have become more powerful to the extent that even the president fears them. Because at one point in time when he was addressing, he said, when you run, you chase away, or you deal with the corrupt, they can make your government fall. So we started the process very optimistic, but also very pessimistic, given the environment. But fortunately, the motion started gathering momentum. Little did we know that there are so many members of parliament who would have otherwise opted to have this motion come through. So we kept on moving. When these commissioners learned that things are really moving, things are moving. We had reached about 120 signatures. On a daily basis, we were getting more than 8, 5, 6 members who were coming voluntarily from their constituencies to come and give us signatures. Then they came with a forged document, which they uttered out on the parliamentary forums to say, hey, members, how can you be so bad that you didn't read when this thing was being passed? And that is the dishonest I have ever seen to the level of leaders at the level of parliament. There is no way you can sit somewhere, forge a parliamentary document, which you know it's not only answered, you cannot bring a video clip of any member of parliament debating something called a service award. You cannot anywhere in parliament. So they went ahead, forged the committee report, and uttered out a document. I am sure you must have seen it because it was in the media. It was in social media. In that document, there's a way God does his own things, that even the intention was to confuse the public. It was clear that in the document that they claim, one, there is no way in the process of writing reports you can merge two issues. In that document that they authored, it brings the ex gratia of the former speakers together with this service award. That could not have happened because there was a clear motion on ex gratia, which we debated as members of parliament. And every member of parliament remembers when parliament sat and we debated that. Now, they bring the same, this one with a motion, and below they say we passed 500 million for Matthias Impuga, 400,000 for the rest of the commissioners. But even then, even when you look at it, there is no way Parliament would have a document that would have passed through Parliament with the level of scrutiny, and it passes where 400 is passed, yet the people eventually got 400 million. It is not possible. So when they uttered this document, it went into public, and people started attacking us and say, "You stupid members of parliament, where were you when this was passing?" But fortunately, we were able to come up clearly to tell everyone that look at that document clearly. Even the members of parliament, on the different forums, we went and said, that is a forgery. It was forged. How could that have happened in the parliament of Uganda? So, Kenneth, what I want to tell you, people started attacking us, especially where I get the big disappointment at the senior members of parliament who accuse us of not having read, but yet they themselves failed to identify the anomalies in the forged document.
Right. Let's stay a little bit with that document, but even before we dig deeper, because I had expected us to discuss that issue of the forged document in the emerging issues that have come. Listeners would want to know the process. So you had 120 signatures at a certain point. Where are we now?
Now where we are, we need 176 signatures. By yesterday, we had 145. But by end of today, we are at 148. Most three members of parliament have come and signed the essential motion. So we are optimistic because our motion has no timeline. We are still hoping that members of parliament we will get the remaining 28 members of parliament. And this is when I come up to say we are in this together, the public. You can inquire, talk to your member of parliament to say, hey, you can be one of those that are pushing for this. And if we go to the 28 signatures, the speaker will have no choice but to call parliament, and on that day, the order paper will have only that motion. And when we deal with it, we shall deal with it. If our commissioners feel they can defend themselves better, they can come up and bring those documents on the floor of parliament. Whatever they bring, who they claim that we don't read, we will show them what we passed, when we were passing, and what they are claiming we passed.
All right. Now let's try to break down some of the things that came up. You brought up that issue of the document, and I want to follow up there. The issue of ex gratia and the service award. Could it be possible that what you're calling the service award was actually catered for under the ex gratia budget?
But how?
Well, it could be a budget line, which is known as ex gratia in parliament, and service award.
Kenneth, either way,
because we are told this budget went to the committee that handles parliamentary issues. That is the Committee on Legal and Parliamentary Affairs. And we are told it was there. Members of that committee saw it. It went to the Budget Committee. It was there. The members of that committee also saw it. And because you never debate your budget as Parliament on the floor of the House, that's how it got ratified. So you did actually pass this amount of money. You appropriated the money to empower the Parliamentary Commission to do as it wishes.
Now, Kenneth, you're a journalist, and at least you're one of the people that I know. You know how the budget process runs. How it starts with the first call budget circular. It goes to the it's called what?
MTF, all those kind of things that happen.
Budget framework paper. From budget framework paper, I go to ministerial policy statements. From ministerial policy statements, we go to the budgeting itself, the appropriation
bit.
Now, any matter that is not seen anywhere, it is not seen in the budget framework paper. It does not appear in the ministerial policy statements. It does not appear in the committee report. And it finds itself in the committee of supply. Then that is immoral.
How come the corrigenda is
illegal?
accepted? The corrigenda is accepted.
Exactly.
How come?
Now, the people who have continuously manipulated the budgeting process have used the items like the corrigenda, have used the items now when you see what is happening in the budgeting process. Fortunately, the time we were talking about, I was a member of the budget committee. That document never came to the budget committee. That service award never came to the budget committee.
Ex gratia came.
Ex gratia came. I was,
and I'm saying maybe it was put under ex gratia.
I was.
Did you break down?
I was a member of the LOP's cabinet. The LOP normally tells us about what is going to happen, and there is a cabinet meeting every Tuesday. He should have at least warned us to say there is some money that is meant for commissioners, and I myself, please support it on the floor of Parliament when it comes. But I want to challenge if there is a member of Parliament who remembers having debated a service award for the commissioners. If today you asked me to bring you the answered on matters to do with the service award for the Auditor General, it is there. If you asked me for how the ex gratia was debated, I were not in full support for the ex gratia, or neither for the service award for the Auditor General. But it passed, and we cannot come up to claim that this is not. I want to challenge those commissioners. I wish we could have them here, and we ask them whether this matter ever saw a day, even a minute, on the floor of Parliament when they claim it passed. I know how they could have included it, because there are so many changes they do these days at the tail end of the budgeting process, to the extent that somebody can read figure A at supply and eventually they go and change it to their own interest. That process has been manipulated. We have been complaining about that process. It is illegal. It is not provided for in the law. But above all, it is immoral to have to the Parliament. So there is no way they could have the power to sit, and we are here. I've seen senior legislators say, our commission, whatever it passes, that's what goes on.
That's what we are told.
It is not provided for. The power. The law says the Parliamentary Commission recommends to Parliament to pass their budget.
All right.
So now, we need this as an opportunity to correct the anomalies that have been going on. You know why they hide that Parliament Commission budget? The reason is simple. They don't want the public to know what goes into the coffers of Parliament. The question, why are you hiding it?
Well, most of your MPs actually do not want
Not
what
MPs.
you earn.
Not MPs.
The Parliamentary Commission works on your behalf.
But I mean, when you say that the budget for MPs, you don't break down for every member that the budget for MPs emoluments is 300 billion or 600. Let the public know that we are spending 600 billion on emoluments of members of Parliament. It is illegal. It is immoral. Now, why then do you insist that State House brings their budget to Parliament for everyone to know? Why do you insist that Minister of Finance or every other institution?
It's a breach of the law.
No, it's not. It's not in the law. The law, I've told you, provides that the Parliamentary Commission must recommend for approval to the Parliament. So whatever they have recommended must come on the floor of Parliament for debate. Members of Parliament are not a machine that whatever you bring, they have to pass it. We begin by debating.
All right.
When we debate, we take, we vote. So I want them to show me where the law was followed. I'm not going to be convinced by somebody to say, this is the practice. I mean, it's the practice, but is it following the law? Is that how we want to run the country? And now, where does Parliament then get the morality, I mean the moral authority, to question other agencies, other institutions within the governance structure? You have no moral authority. When you hide whatever you spend on, I want the public to demand it, to know what we spend on. Let the same way other agencies, other ministries come through, let it be public. Why are we hiding?
Right, Spectrum on Radio 1 FM 90. My guest this evening, the Honorable Patrick Oshabe Nsamba. He's the Kassanda North MP, member of the National Unity Platform Party. He's also among those who are collecting signatures for the censure of 4 commissioners over what is famously known as a service award, 1.7 billion shillings, which is said to have been shared amongst themselves. There have been questions. If you're targeting the commissioners, the commission, why have you left the speaker out? Some other people actually think you are trying to maneuver, your target is the speaker. There are those who are actually saying you're blackmailing colleagues to actually come and sign, telling them that if you do not sign, in 2026, you're likely not to be voted back. Let's go for a break. When we return, we'll look at some of those issues and also look at the recommendations. How can we deal with the challenges of corruption emerging in Parliament? Stay tuned to Radio 1 FM 90, but keep your comments coming via the WhatsApp line 0703 090 090. Spectrum continues after this break.
Spectrum on Radio 1 FM 90.
Thank you so much for staying with us on Spectrum, live on Radio 1 FM 90. Today we are looking at the censure motion against commissioners of Parliament. How far has this process gone? And what are the plotters actually saying about the emerging issues, questions that are arising? My guest this evening, the Honorable Patrick Oshabe Nsamba, is the Kassanda North MP. He's among those who are collecting signatures. They need 177, and as we speak, they need only 29 more to actually move this motion to the next level, which will be having the clerk actually pinning it and having the House called to sit to discuss this issue. Well, Honorable, before we went for the break, I read out some of the pointers, some of the things people are saying. And one of the issues that keeps coming out is the issue of, especially you people from NUP, plotting against the Honorable Matthias Mpuga, you trying to use this process to politically deal with him. And some people have actually said, if you are talking about the Commission of Parliament, can there be a commission without the chairperson? Why are you only going after the 4?
First of all, when this matter first came to the public, the debate was skewed between His Excellency Chagulanyi and his deputy. Because when NUP heard about this, NUP took a stand to say, if you are our commission and we appointed you to the commission, the best you can do is to resign. And they requested that and from the Honorable Matthias Impuga. And because Honorable Matthias Impuga had just been moved from the position of law, there is quite a lot of explanation that came. The debate actually moved away from the Agora people who did the exhibition. I think lost ground because then the debate was skewed to talk politics. Matthias Impuga Chagulanyi, Matthias Impuga Chagulanyi. And the debate was vulgarized like that. But then Honorable Sechikubo and this motion comes up to say, hey, this is not a NUP issue. This is not a NUP matter. This is a parliamentary issue. Now we have a process, this process, where all the signatures are not on political background. We have people from all political parties. It's no longer an NUP issue. And people who want to reduce this discussion to NUP, you're being so unfair to the people of Uganda who have known that there is mismanagement at Parliament. So it is not an NUP matter. Honorable Sechikubo is not NUP. Honorable Saropen is not NUP. They are NRM. Honorable Orion, and very many members of Parliament, Honorable Bashir and those that we are working with, actually, we are only two who are NUP. So there is no way you can reduce this matter to say it is NUP wanting to use the process. There is no way we, as NUP, if we chose to work on something, that we must use NRM members to achieve this. No. NUP, the Parliamentary Commissioner has 3 commissioners who are NRM, 1 commissioner who is NUP. So when a motion comes up to bundle all of them together, it loses the meaning when you say it is an NUP matter. It's no longer an NUP matter, it's no longer an Impuga matter, it's about a matter of parliamentary commissioners who have chosen to play a different role from the role provided for in the law. Because in the law, they are supposed to represent the interests of members of Parliament. But now the way they are operating, they are representing their own interests to the extent that whereas members of Parliament get buy fuel at pump price at 5,500, that's a pump price. We continuously being paid 3,800 per litre. But now these same commissioners have already increased theirs to 5,500. So are they working for us? Are they focusing on us? Secondly, so I wanted to stop there on that.
In other words, there could be so much going on.
A lot. Kenneth, you know how parliamentary chambers building began way back before judiciary began to construct these 2 buildings they put up here at State Square. And all Ugandans just look at those buildings. They started when parliamentary building had already started. Now you have the parliamentary chambers there in Shambo. There is only one man who come. I don't know how they hired that person. You'll hear a hammer, bo, 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 as if there is work going on. Nothing is going on. Who is supposed to answer that? Are parliamentary commissioners. Now you're asking me, why are you not targeting the speaker? I have not seen any reason for us to target the speaker.
Well, you accuse these people for sitting down in a meeting.
It is
deciding on how they are going to be paid.
Yes.
But the meeting was chaired by somebody who should have guided. That's what some people are saying.
Maybe she guided.
So you're proceeding.
Maybe she guided. Now
you're proceeding.
The detail.
You're proceeding even without having the details of the meeting.
For us, we are looking for those who shared the money. Do you have any minute where the speaker shared the money?
Not at all.
Is it there?
Not at all.
So why do you want us to bundle her in this one? So if there is any, it is them to tell us that you people don't crucify us. We never wanted this money. It is the speaker that forced this money on us.
So you are fishing.
Let them come on the floor of parliament and explain to the public that they never wanted this money. Maybe the speaker will also come up to say, no, you're lying. This money you demanded for it. We were doing this and we also demanded to be added on the list of beneficiaries. So do not, there are members of parliament that have heard, especially senior leaders who are claiming that there is a lot of corruption scandals. Why are the Nsamba only focusing on the commissioners? Who has stopped you from coming up with motions on those different corruption scandals? You also go and come up with a motion on the scandals you're talking about. I'll give you a signature. Our motion is on parliamentary commissioners. Do not start telling us now. There is a lot of corruption on Lubowa. There is a lot of corruption in different ministries. You censure those ones. Hey, honorable members, if Nsamba and Sechikuba have come up with this one, you also come up with the one you're talking about. All right. If you want to censor the speaker, come up with the one with the speaker. Do not vulgarize ours in the line of saying that we should have bundled everyone together. Our motion is specific. Our motion is on this. If there is a member of parliament out there who wants to censure the speaker, come up with a motion. If you want to censure any minister, come up with a motion. I'll be happy to sign for you.
All right. Why are you somehow threatening your colleagues? We're actually told you are busy threatening your colleagues. Sometimes you're, with the media that is stationed at Parliament, you wait for MPs who are coming. You tell them, come and sign, come and sign. If you don't sign, you're finished. Is this how you're actually getting the signatures? Threatening your colleagues and telling them 2026 is not too far.
No, you can't threaten them.
We have even seen others who are actually saying they are withdrawing their signatures because they were misled by some of you.
Kenneth, there is no member of parliament you can threaten like that, unless it's not a serious member.
Well, we have seen those who said I have.
Now,
when
they come to parliament, we tell them that, hey, we need to clean the image of this house. We are all going for elections.
You have even today published a list of the people who have signed and those who have not.
Yes, the public
I have it on the record.
Yes, the public
You have gone to the extent of actually saying District A, all the MPs have not signed.
Yes.
District B, all of
Yes.
That's
yes.
twisting.
Now, Kenneth, that's not arm twisting. We had refused to publish this. On Friday, you could have seen documents running on social media. Unfortunately, those documents included the members who had given us their signatures, claiming that these members have not signed. Those ones preempted us to get this list out so that our members that have signed the censor motion are protected. Otherwise, the public had gone ahead to start speculating, to say this one has signed, this one has not signed. Now, what this one is helping us with, they shouldn't crucify members of parliament who have already given us their signatures. And if you're a member of parliament and I came and talked to you and told you that, my brother, we need to clean up this parliament, we are going for election, people are going to abuse us, and people are going to think that everyone is corrupt here. We need to salvage our image. And for you go and you start saying that I threatened you, then you're not serious. I was just convincing you to give me a signature. When you see us talking to members of parliament that have come at parliament, yes, our table is in front and the customers, the clients are coming in. Do you want us to just look at them and they pass and go? No, we have to go like somebody selling something. You know, you have to convince them. The board under which the motion is pinned is behind the table. We want them to come and read. And when they read, men have taken decisions, my brother. Yes. Now, I think let me first hold it at that.
All right. Yes, Honorable Nsamba, you have talked about people saying there are so many corruption scandals taking place at Parliament. We have had a couple of things, you know. Not only did we see this issue of the service award, we saw issues of allowances you are one of those MPs who actually travels from time to time outside this country, because I know you're a member of the Pan-African Parliament, which means you get allowances. You people have been making a kill there. We are actually told that some of you don't even travel. You pick the money and hide around. You never go to do your work. So you are making money, busy making money. We hear about money being given to you. When you returned from the Christmas break, we were told each MP was receiving 50 million. You had previously received another sum. We have also seen attempts by some MPs to actually return the money. So the question the public is asking, who are you working for as MPs?
Fortunately, I am one of the members of Parliament who travel for work with the Pan-African Parliament. And when I travel to the Pan-African Parliament, I get per diem for me to stay there, money to take care of me when I'm there. And
are you at liberty to say how much?
And the invitation for me to go to Pan-African Parliament, I don't create it. You can only go to the Pan-African Parliament when there is a session.
And you're not alone in the Pan-African Parliament.
There is no way you can choose a member of the Pan-African Parliament unless you're saying that even we shouldn't be attending those such meetings.
Do you know how much
I am aware? I am aware that there are members of Parliament who get journeys here and there, but I've not known who they are and how they are able to do it, because the many times I've been able to travel are only those when there is an invitation from the Pan-African Parliament. And when that happens,
when there's a sitting,
when there's a sitting, like for example, beginning the 27th of this month, the Pan-African Parliament will be sitting for 2 weeks. So I will be happy to go and represent my country. And when we meet in the Pan-African Parliament, we handle AU, African Union matters. We handle matters that probably you would be so myopic to think that it is wrong for Nsamba to go and the other 4 members of Parliament to go to the Pan-African Parliament to represent Uganda. So if you have evidence about
we don't see any impact, any usefulness of you people going to attend even the Pan-African Parliament.
Certainly usefulness, that can be a debate for another day. But you invite me here for that purpose, then we debate I show you the usefulness of the African Union to the African continent, and I will show you the role of the Pan-African Parliament.
Well,
and I really need some.
The little that I know, Africa has remained with the same challenges all over, despite all these institutions being in place.
Yes. The same way we have challenges.
What are you doing in? Is it Midrand, Joburg?
Sometimes Midrand, sometimes Addis Ababa, depending on where the meeting is going to happen. Yes, and we quite engage in so many activities. First of all, every country contributes some money to the African Union. And you know that, every country that is a member of the African Union contributes some money to implement certain projects. Some is in health, some is in credit, there's so many other areas where the African Union is having its own activities. So as members of Parliament, we meet to look at those projects on how they are running and how they are impacting the people of Africa.
All right.
Now the African Union might be a weak organization, but that does not mean that the Pan-African Parliament is not doing its job.
All right, like you said, that should be a discussion of another day.
Yes.
Now, this is the institution where you work, Parliament. There are a number of these challenges that are coming up. Some members of the public are actually fed up. There are pieces of information moving around. They say MPs don't pay taxes. They say to their own pay. Now we hear about these issues of corruption. And an image has been crafted out there that this Parliament is all about money making. How do we actually insulate Parliament? How do we clean the image of Parliament? How do we deal with it holistically? Because it's
actually, I want to tell you that it's not only Parliament. All institutions of government are not working for the people of Uganda, including Parliament. The impact and the work they do, many Ugandans have reduced it. If people can go to the hospital and they find doctors there and they are unable to get the medicine or the treatment they want, if they go to police and they are unable to be catered for, they go to the courts of law. So we have a bigger problem in Uganda about how our institutions are non-functional in terms of serving the people of Uganda.
All right, let's look
so
at...
if you took a day, I agree. You can ask many Ugandans on the streets here, do we need parliament? I'm sure 99% will say we don't need it. So that we deal with the problem. But every time we keep hiding and burying our heads in the sand, we are not helping the situation. The people will continue to hate the institution of parliament. People will continue hating that institution, and it is the institution that we came up and told people of Uganda that we want to serve in them.
So what kind of output do you envisage during this discussion?
I envisage a situation where presiding officers, we have two presiding officers, whoever will be presiding over this session, to give enough time for members of parliament to debate across board about these matters. We need to deal with the issue of the role of commissioners. Are they serving the parliament, backbench commission? Are they serving us, or they are serving political parties where they are coming from? We needed to debate
why is
the
that
kind
important?
of mismanagement.
Why is that important, serving the political party or serving the parliament? Because at the moment we
Now
know
I want to ask you,
once you are elected a
I want to
commissioner,
ask you,
you belong to parliament.
Kenneth, would NRM Secretary General be concerned about the chamber where I want to sit and debate in parliament with more space? Would he be concerned that we spend billions of money hiring, renting places outside parliament? Maybe it is us who are interested in that. We are the primary stakeholders, and these commissioners are representing us on that commission. So I'm seeing a presiding officer, whether it will be Taewa, Right Honorable Speaker Taewa or Right Honorable Speaker Among. I'm seeing a situation that they will leave this debate to continue without gagging any member of parliament, with giving all opportunity, even those that have not signed the censor motion, to give their opinion on how they want this to happen. So I'm seeing two things. One, where parliament censors the current commissioners. Two, where we dissolve ourselves in the committee of the whole house to debate matters that very day, because it is very possible.
Matters of administration
of parliament. Because members of parliament, we must take part, and we are the key stakeholders. We cannot have an administration where they do things where people ask people ask us about them outside the public, and we do not know even about them. So we must come out to cleanse the image of parliament. So I'm pleading to the Right Honourable Speaker and Eternity Among to leave this process continue.
Are you saying she's interfering with the process?
Give this process opportunity. When we get the signatures, be open. Give the members of parliament liberty to debate.
That's an interesting issue.
And give their opinions. And parliament should pick up on these opinions and see how best. I want to remind you, listeners, that when there was an exhibition that happened on the airport, where some people started throwing in videos showing their dissatisfaction at the airport. When you go at the airport today, Civil Aviation Authority listened in and took decision to clean up the airport. And it is better service now. We need to provide better service to the people of Uganda through the parliament where we serve in.
All right, we have comments coming in. If the source of funds for service awards was illegal, why censure the recipients of the service awards instead of those who paid them? Incidentally, almost all MPs receive these kinds of awards in retreats whenever there is debate on controversial issues. That's a comment from Justine. We have another comment from Okelo Patrick Bonyo, listening in from Busega. What will happen after censuring the commissioners? Will they pay back the money? Will they lose their jobs? What happened to Honorable Namuganza after she was censured? We have another comment from Anthony. Good evening, Spectrum. I'm so surprised that most of our leaders get opinions from social media. We don't need leaders like those, or like pharaohs of Egypt. Those days, what gain will NUP get after exposing their own, while the NRM accommodate their own? Which kind of corruption are you guys fighting? It's so ashaming. That's a comment from Anthony. Thank you, Kenneth, for the program. Masaba Joseph from Tororo. I thank God for bringing our Savior, His Excellency Bobby Wine. All this is because of him. So long as MP strips are within the law, I don't see any problem. That's a comment there. Then we have another comment. But how will the public open up on crucial issues when President openly warned people who write about government and are given awards abroad? Then we have another comment from Amo Martin. Amo Martin, you've been silent for quite some time. It's good to see your comment. Honorable Oshabe, why are you hiding the evidence from the voters? Do not publish the names of those who have signed without evidence pinning the commissioners. Well, those are some of the comments that are coming in, and I will ask you, Honorable Nsamba, to respond to some of them very quickly. There's another one. Earlier, the MPs behind the censure complained about threats coming to them. Have there been any reports to the police? What kind of threats were they? Well, those are some of the comments, and this comes from Stephen.
Thank you. Now, people were demanding evidence. We don't adduce evidence now. We shall adduce evidence from the floor of Parliament. Just pray for us.
What kind of evidence?
The service
because
award.
Because we already know. We saw some documents.
The service award. Unfortunately, none of the recipients deny that.
Well, we were told at a certain point that the money has not even come.
That was a lie. And I would want you to go and follow up on the same person, whether I can still say the same thing.
Okay.
Now, this gentleman who is saying that, how would you go to social media? My friend, my brother.
And even the speaker said the House cannot proceed on issues that have basically been published in the media.
Yeah, but I mean, how could you then to come up and communicate the same using social media? You cannot come up to say that you don't respect social media, but when all your communications you use social media, then you want the public not to respect what you're communicating. You've seen the speaker many times communicating using Twitter about what is going on. So and many leaders, by the way, everyone do the same. They communicate through social media. Now, this brother of mine who is still insisting on ignoring social media, you'll be left behind.
Okay.
So just join in. If you have no Twitter account, get one. If you have no WhatsApp, please join in, because most of the communication, that's where it goes. Then somebody asked, Namuganza was censured.
She's still in the House?
She's still. Now, Namuganza's case is different from this one, because the president is the one who is holding the censure motion.
All right. To implement it.
To implement it.
You did your part as the House.
Exactly. Now, these are commissioners. Once you're censured, you cease to be a commissioner. Zake was censured and ceased to be a commissioner.
Okay.
So this is quite different. Then there is something you asked me, and you kind of implicated me to have First Honorable Nanyondo to sign, and then she withdrew her signature. First of all, in our rules, it is not allowed to sign a motion and withdraw a signature.
Well, she says she did the motion.
Secondly, the paper on which she signed, I had it in my hands. I did not call her to come to sign. She came looking for me, to sign the motion, because she never wanted to sign on camera. She wanted to do it off camera. We were in cabinet. She's not a member of the cabinet. She came purposely to sign, and I passed on the paper to her, even without talking to her. She picked it from Honorable Nabukera. She signed. I don't know why when she changed her mind, she implicated us that we forced her. Honorable Nanyondo was just unfair to herself and to us because none of them, and by the way, there are so many members of parliament who have told us I'm not signing. Once somebody says I'm not signing, we do not force them. But we appeal, we continue to appeal those well-meaning members of parliament. We are left with 28 signatures only to have this motion come to pass, and we discuss about parliament. This process will be very helpful for the people of Uganda.
With that, we come to the end of Spectrum. Thank you so much, Honorable Patrick Oshabe Nsamba, Kasanda North MP, one of those collecting signatures for the censure of Commissioners of Parliament. Thank you for making time to be with us on Spectrum.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, dear listeners, for not only listening in, but also sharing with us your views. Your views actually did help us to shape